for the weak mind, they will claim that only South Africans are to live in South Africa. So, who really has a right to live in South Africa? A citizen of South Africa can live in South Africa. A migrant documented can live in South Africa. An African can live in South Africa. South Africa is just one of the nations, in Africa. So for us to put South Africa on a pedestal, it's not fair for people to think that, South Africa would have achieved all this by itself. They say, no, 50 years we were under apartheid and we didn't run. Your elders did run. The one who formed the ANC, which is the African National Congress Party. ANC, first and foremost, was not formed directly to just start here in South Africa. It was an African National Congress, as it says. So there's deeper roots to we as Africans, first and foremost, having a right to stay in South Africa. And of course, that right is based on a few variety of things, such as legality. As borders came, those came with different things. So we can't debate documentation, legality, but the right to live in South Africa, everyone has a right to live in South Africa, as long as you're not breaking the laws of the country. While you have a right to live in South Africa, we all have to be just law-abiding citizens. So why would you want to force all Zimbabweans to go home? You go home. Why are you forcing all of us to go to Zimbabwe? Who have forced you, to live the life you're living? Who have forced you to not go and apply for a job? Who have forced you to not improve your conditions? Who have forced you to not create the life that you want, that you have to force the whole Zimbabwean, generation in South Africa to migrate back to Zimbabwe? So if they migrate back to Zimbabwe, what is that exactly going to do for you? Is that going to automatically now be you? Because say, for example, I'm a network specialist, right? So I'm an ISP. So the work I do, one of the few people do this work. And that is just a testimony to, the people that I serve and just the systems that we have built. I don't need to talk about that because that's not why we're talking here. So at the end of the day, if I depart, for example, from South Africa, I'm literally hurting a lot of people. So I know that a lot of people out there, that's exactly what they want. Because if they are not getting what they want, so no one else should get anything. So they want all Zimbabweans out so that everyone suffers, even the ones who benefit from the legal Zimbabweans, from the people who are actually doing great work for the country. So that's hence why we come back with its jealousy, its hate, its self-hate, in a sense that why you. So you go away from me, it doesn't matter. Even someone is like, it don't matter even if we suffer after you're gone. So how can you want to wish to suffer, just so that people look like you go away from you? I still don't understand why would you have to force the Zimbabweans to go, So if someone can actually better explain that. So voting in Zimbabwe, okay? So how does that change anything? Of all the people in Zimbabwe right now, there's been voting. What has changed? Nothing. If you look at the voting in Zimbabwe, first and foremost, are they free and fair? Before even the late Tsvangirai died, One of the elections that I think is the last one before he passed, allegedly he won. And he ended up running away from Zimbabwe to South Africa because things were tense there. So at the end of the day, if a leader of the biggest opposition party will run away from Zimbabwe with such a movement of people, what makes you think that ordinary people will stand a chance? If they all go to Zimbabwe, what does that do? The numbers in the voting system is just numbers in the voting system, but is it really free and fair? And if anyone understands actually politics, these agendas are just, these are controlled narratives. So at the end of the day, people want to play politics on a poor level, and that don't help anyone because, we can all vote, but the narrative will come out the way they want it to come out. Why can't those in Zimbabwe bring change? I came to South Africa when I was only 17. I was a young boy. 17, now I'm 36. Of which, it's only now that I'm starting to almost get to my feet of creating the business on that major level, right? But it took me 15 years to grow, to find myself. So it's a coward thing for someone to say, why did you run? Why are you running? What am I running from? I'm not running from nothing. There's nothing I'm running away from. There's nothing Zimbabweans are running away from. Let me tell you something now, so that people who do not think economics and business, because they just think, why are you running? Just go and kill people. We don't kill people. That's not what we do. So, capital. Every Zimbabwean goes into Zimbabwe right now. Where do they get the capital from? Looking at Zimbabwe don't even have its capital. Its own capital. Zimbabwe is using rand. Zimbabwe is, I don't know if they're using US dollars. They're using whatever, and I think they're trying to revive the Zimbabwean economy, but what is it really based on with all these sanctions? Stock. For someone who creates internet and infrastructures, if sometimes we're running out of stock here in South Africa, if I have to build networks in Zimbabwe, with the economical problems that are there and the systems I want to build, how far do you think it will take me before I actually build anything that is tangible? So there's capital, then there's stock. Revolving costs. Who pays for those revolving costs and with what currency? So South Africa want rand. Zimbabwe have got whatever they're dealing with. What if that do not match? Because when you're doing legit business and how people are making money in the streets is different. Legit business, you have to explain. And when we talk of these accountants and people say, nah, to hell with your accountants, whatever, you don't understand. Because many people are just doing business on a low level and they are actually not trying to build some sort of an empire. So you won't understand that actually every cent you get has to be explained. So the company vehicles, who buys these company vehicles for all these Zimbabweans when they flock back into Zimbabwe? Who gives them the capital, the stock? Where do they get that from? The stock, the revolving costs, where do they get that from? The company vehicles. Because to start a company, say, in Zimbabwe from Kadoma, to run a proper network, I need about 3-4 cars, 5 cars just for Kadoma. For Sanyati, I need a few cars. For Chegu too, I need a few cars. For Gweru, I need a few cars. Kwekwe, I need a few cars. For Norton, Harare, that's a lot of cars. Bulawayo, that's a lot of cars. Vic Falls, so as you can see, where do you get that from? From the age of 17, getting into South Africa, age 36, and the government is dismantled. So where do I get the company vehicles from exactly? After we already mentioned the capital, the stock, the revolving costs, the company vehicles. So the ability and the structures to do all that is broken right now in Zimbabwe. Then the office, you need an office space. You can get an office space. The rents, where are you gonna get all that money? Because when you're talking about of renting an office space, you wanna actually spend a lot of money for that. The electricity, the maintenance, the rent, everything, you name it, you know it. The staff and the salaries, they need to be paid. So in an economy that don't even have its own money right now, if all these people right now run back to Zimbabwe, how are they going to pay staff and salary when no one is being paid correctly from what we understand? The teachers aren't even getting paid. The nurses aren't even getting paid. So, I mean, how can people actually then pay the staff and the salary? Communication and transport. How will people communicate to make this business move correct? Transportation is broken. So that's a big problem because the fuel availability sometimes is there, sometimes it's not there. Zimbabwe's got so many sanctions, so you can wake up any day and you don't have this and you don't have that. You can wake up any day, the currency has to change. So it's uncertain, living in Zim. So when you're telling all the ZDP people or all the migrants who are here in South Africa from Zimbabwe to go back to Zimbabwe, you are technically telling them that they already have capital, stock, revolving costs, company vehicles, offices, staff, salary, communication, transport, fuel availability. You say, but you don't care, let them just go. They go into Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is small right now, So it's scavenging and people may kill each other that will still spill back into South Africa. So at the end of the day, however you want to cook it, it ends up with us going into some major altercation with one another, and that can spew into major Africa. So it will be uncontrollable. So the only thing is to dialogue a way into fixing Zimbabwe. But again, the question is, what does the West want? What does the West want? How can we achieve a way without politics, if there's any such a thing? Because people want to tell me, no, go and vote, go and do that. Nah, but the West wants something. That's why we have got sanctions. So whatever they want, can it be understood by all of us so that perhaps this voting can actually bring certain change to the people? Because let's not kid ourselves here. The voting is really, it's one of those 48 laws of power technically. So we're winning for Triple C change any problems in one go. So the people in Zimbabwe, they can vote, right? And Triple C can win. What changes can they bring? All these people here in South Africa can go back. They can all vote and Triple C can still win. What changes will they bring? So let's, again, not kid ourselves. Because talking on a level of emotions, hurt, I don't have food, I don't have that. No, so y'all go. You're just not really solving any problem here. So how can Zimbabwe handle all Zimbos in South Africa right now? The answer is they can't. Because there was an increase in birth rate. We got a lot of kids here. And those kids, I mean, they actually don't know what Zimbabwe is, some of them. They haven't been to Zimbabwe. And most of those kids technically are South African. Some are not yet, of course, documented. So what will Zimbabwe give these kids with the economical pressures and the issues? Where will all these people go to start exactly? The health system is broken. My friend's mother, she fell, then she broke her hand here in Zimbabwe, apparently. And they couldn't even heal her. They just keep on giving her pills, keeping her pills. The hand was almost getting rotten. Then she came here. She's seeking proper health and stuff. So I don't even know, sometimes someone can be in a serious situation of which, someone can die, So in that situation, all these people, and already the health system is under pressure. How are these people literally going to get any help? So you must have understanding, even if you do not understand. I mean, come on. Anyone can actually sit down to understand. So the past election outcomes, MDC won at some point, allegedly, and then he ran to South Africa. When he ran to South Africa, he stayed here, if I'm not mistaken, for a month or two. Zimbabweans were being brutalized, some reportedly missing, So this politics in Zimbabwe, people don't understand. Zimbabwe have got one of the bravest armies, one of the deadliest armies, in Africa. And they do not think the way you and I will think. So just saying, all of y'all go, you literally just say, go and get killed. You saw there was an uproar that happened at some point and people got shot. So as I said, I mean, it's not worth it to die for actually nothing or kill your own for something that we just want this earth to pass by. The stories we have to tell, how we tell them matters at the end of the day. So change did not come, and then Tsvangirai died. And now we have got Chamisa. He was with MDC, split apart, became MDCT and some alliance, split apart. Now it's CCC. MDCT, people are running, they're coming, there's chaos. So I would appreciate if Chamisa would not spread the word that if we all come to Zimbabwe to vote today, that will change something. Mr. Chamisa, we all know that's not correct. The situation still remains the sanctions, Mr. Chamisa. MDC also has a lot to do with why we get sanctioned a lot and why some of these sanctions stays. Because majority of y'all actually love these sanctions to stay because you say you're punishing ZANU-PF, but you're punishing us all. So this is deep. This is deep. So the right to live in South Africa, anyone has a right to live in any country. A South African has a right to live in Zim, in any African country. As far as I know, as far as we were born to be Africans, Europeans have got a right to live in Europe. That's how it works. And then borders came, and then papers came, so you have to be legal to live in countries that you want to live. Why force Zimbabweans to go? Voting in Zimbabwe, is it free and fair? Why can't those in Zimbabwe bring change? Diaspora, alienation, that's something I actually forgot. Diasporans, if you've been living in South Africa for 20 years, you go back there, you're on your own. You have to bring your own, you have to be ready. So most of these people, they just don't tell you that the separation of our people is deep. We all just don't like ourselves. So at the end of the day, who helps an African? Who calls a brother and say, yo, man, there's this much budget for you. Come, let's do this. Most of them are scared to go back because no one has called them to actually say, come and let's start this. Majority goes back home. People start laughing at them. You wasted this much years in South Africa. Some people end up actually just having depression. Some kill themselves. Some end up again running from Zimbabwe, going to whatever country. So we literally don't help our own people, So we're winning for Triple C change, all problems in one go. Hence why all these Zimbabweans have to go right now to Zimbabwe and vote. How can Zimbabwe handle all Zimbos in South Africa right now if they are to go? With the increased birth rate, the economical issues, the health systems that are actually collapsing or have collapsed. The past election outcomes, MDC won, Tsvangirai ran away from Zim. People got brutalized. He got brutalized. Uh, Zimbabweans got brutalized. Change did not come. Tsvangirai died. So all these Zimbabweans, they go to Zimbabwe. Where's the capital? Where's the stock? Where's the revolving costs of the company logistics? Where are the company vehicles? The offices, the staff salary, where is that coming from? Communication and transport. How do you put all that together? Fuel and availability and just the etc. that you need to get to ensure and get the business running correctly, So where do you get that? Go and vote. We loving you the hard way. Nah, you're not loving no one. You don't love yourself. So how can you say you're loving someone the hard way? Parents, they love their children the hard way by telling them, look, we birthed you, we raised you, get out of the house, go find your own life. Wherever you go find it. Because when you do, you are stronger for the clan. So people who are expecting, people who are always like, give me, people who are like, but where is this mine? I mean, come on. You're crippling your own generation. So at the end of the day, we need to talk about these things as Africans, as Zimbabweans, So if you all are to be pushed out of here, what's up with that?